Hey, welcome back to the Blade Lab. We have a Grail Day today. This is, as you can see, the G&G Hawk Knives Talon. Unbelievable. This is something that I was able to pick up on the first drop. They are, I think they may have just recently run their second drop, and of course they're going to be at Blade Show and have some knives there. So let's get into it. This is what the knife comes in, a really nice padded pouch. Doesn't have a whole lot of stuff in there. There's no real sort of COA. It comes with the Hawk Knife Designs card, which is not a COA, and some lip balm, and it nicely does come with a tool for this proprietary pivot. So let's just put that aside for right now. Well, got the plastic stuck in there. So yeah, so this is an M390 blade, and it has a titanium frame, titanium sort of backspacer and lanyard loop, titanium milled what I believe Gavin Hawk calls the grip clip, which is wonderful. We'll talk about that in a minute. It does have thumb studs, which also serve as blade stops, and it has this sort of deployment flipper, which is nicely jimped. Has a lot of jimping all over, sort of big jimps there, big jimps back here, so it has a good grip. The first drop came in 4 different carbon fiber variants. This is the all fat carbon. This was the fat carbon Arctic Storm, I believe is what we call that. It also had the camo Black Pearl, I believe, Mars Valley, and one other. It was like a white, I forget what it's called. Anyway. Those are all gone, and I believe the next drop had a different variety of carbon fibers, except for the Black Pearl, which was also carried over from the first drop. You can see the super large Hawk Knives logo, which is, as Gavin pointed out, so large it doesn't even fit on the knife. I think it looks real cool, though. Normally not a big billboarding guy, but I think it just sort of fits the design here. So let us open it up and listen to the sound of this. That is the Hawk Knives toggle detent, is what you're hearing. I guess the Hawk Lock and the toggle detent. It's actually kind of 2 different probably patent mechanisms. I don't know, but very clever. I'm not going to open this up, but maybe I will drop a link in the description of the video to I believe it was now I'm zoning out. Nick Nick did a disassembly of the Serge Panchenko knife that uses the toggle lock. That's the oh my god, vapor lock in my brain going on. The Rook, the Serge Rook, which was, I believe, a sort of joint knife between Hawk and Serge. Anyway, it's a super cool and unique detent and locking mechanism, and it's very, very secure. There's like 0 blade play going on, up, down, side to side. I have not and will not do like a really hard spine whack on this because it is not cheap. Spoiler alert. But I believe it is very secure, and I have no concerns about the lock failing. I have used the knife, I have sharpened the knife, as you could probably tell. Came with a decent edge, better than average, not the best I've ever seen. It has, I think, a beautiful stonewash finish on here, and it is a nice hollow grind. It is pretty thin behind the edge. I will put up the number for exactly what I measured before I sharpened it. But this is 17 degree, I think, edge, and you can see that the bevel's still pretty small and will stay small because it does have that nice deep sort of hollow grind here. I don't know if you can always try to show this on camera, and it's just very hard to show up. You can see a little bit how thin that is here. So the way this works in practice, this lock, is that this, obviously this slides down, this sort of button slider, which has a real nice grip to it. It's sort of a stepped jimp. And you just pull it down, and that releases the lock, and then sort of snap it down. And it comes right down and slaps in. It really does not bounce out. It has enough, there's like sort of a spring tension kind of holding it in. You can see, let me pop it out and sort of intentionally not close it all the way. So you can see once you do that, it is on bearings, and it's very smooth. It's kind of hard to tell when I'm right on top of this, so you can't really see it moving. But so it sort of has free movement between here when the lock starts to engage and here when the detent starts to engage. And the nice thing about it is that it's a really crisp sort of detent or pseudo detent, whatever you want to call it, but you can just listen to the interruption. My camera overheated, apparently. It's warm here in Miami. So I was saying that if you release the lock and then sort of bring it down to where it's just sort of hitting the start of the detent, and then you can listen to how crisp it is. Hear that? And that, I think, is what makes the lock so satisfying. It's just that it's just like a really good traditional frame lock or liner lock detent. It allows you to sort of build up pressure, and then it just breaks nice and cleanly. So, fantastic. It's just an amazing knife all around. It's ergonomically, it's excellent. You can see that it has this sort of nice finger area that's actually on the blade where it sort of comes out. Gives you a sort of a guard. It has this really sort of effective but not uncomfortable jimping here. The whole blade is sort of curved, so you can, sort of easily sort of get any sort of grip you might want on it. It is a relatively low tip. It's kind of a continuous curve with a lowish tip, so it's going to let you sort of get onto a cutting board if you want to do sort of rocking type cuts. You can get, I know you can't see it there, but you can get about maybe probably half, maybe even more than half of the knife onto a cutting board. So, whoops, as I just smack it into my finger. It's quite addictive, as you can tell. The pocket clip is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's not deep carry, obviously, but I have so many problems with thick seams and milled pocket clips where it's just a pain in the ass, frankly, to get the knife in and out of pocket, and it shreds the pocket. With this, I forget what he calls it, the grip clip, I think. You just, as you put it in, you just push down on it. Has a spring in here, obviously. It's thick enough to fit over any seam, unless you're wearing actual armor. And then it's quite secure once you get it in pocket. When you go to pull it out, you just grab this, and it comes out easy squeezy. No problems at all. So, fantastic. So many, I have so many knives that I love that I just don't carry much because the pocket clips just suck so bad. I pointed out earlier that the studs are actually blade stops as well, which gives it, helps to give it nice side-to-side stability. I was talking about ergonomics. So it is relatively thick knife. So I like that, actually. I mean, There are times when you might want to have a nice sort of thin gentleman's type knife, but most of the time I prefer, and this is obviously personal choice, but I tend to prefer something that has a little bit of chunkiness to it, just because it feels better in the hand. There are, I get no hot spots here. You can sort of choke up, really, if you wanted to, just pretty much almost right up to the heel of the blade. The sharpening choil is pretty good. It's could be better, but it's it gives you enough to sharpen a few times. As I said, I've already clearly sharpened this once, and probably won't end up having to sharpen it too many times, because I'm not going to be using this out in the yard, and I doubt anyone else really will be either. So yeah, I have really nothing but praise for this knife, and I recommend it quite highly. Aesthetically, obviously, it's a personal thing. I think it's it's quirky, but it's cool. I really wanted to get my hands on that Rook by Panchenko, but just have not been able to actually obtain one for any price, and they go for quite a bit. But there just aren't very many out there, and they're hard to find. So I'm almost glad, because this sort of satisfies my desire to have the Hawk toggle lock and detent, and I think this is a more practical knife than the Rook, just in terms of the blade length. It's more to my liking, and kind of a more useful blade shape. I like the hollow. Pretty sure that the Rook wasn't hollow, but I could be wrong about that. So let's just do a couple of quick measurements. I don't have a ton to say about this. The blade length is just about, call it 3.5 inches. Depends where you want to measure it from. The cutting edge is 3 3/8 inches, pretty much exactly. Or maybe just, anyway, a little over 3 1/4 inches. Overall length is going to be about 7 7/8 inches. The thickness, which is interesting, this is not the best way to measure thickness, but it's about 1/2 inch thick, which is pretty standard. Probably a little over that. Actually, let me just grab my calipers so that we're not being idiots. And so yeah, I thought I was underestimating that. So yeah, it's 0.5. It's about 0.567, call it. So definitely on the chunkier side. I'd say average for EDC knives is probably about 1/2 inch. But again, that's a bonus for me. May not be for you, but it is for me. The blade stock on this is, let's see if we can see that, 0.155, around there, according to this. So pretty thick blade stock on that. I mentioned that behind the edge thickness was pretty reasonable. I think it was 15 thousandths. I can check, see what it is now that I have a 17-degree edge on here. It was 20 degrees from factory. And so yeah, right now it's right at 20 thousandths behind the edge, with the one resharpening and reprofiling to 17 degrees. So that's pretty good. Not the thinnest in the world, but pretty good. I have actually used this knife to cut things. I've cut up some boxes, opened packages, etc. Just the things that I do with knives, and it cuts really well. Even better than I thought. It's quite a slicey blade. So if you are interested in getting one and actually using it, have no fear, because it's a good cutter. Let us do a couple size comparisons, just because that's what we do around here. Let's compare it to a couple other American Beauties in a similar size range. So this is going to be the Machine Wise Mojave, which is a little bit bigger for sure. And we'll compare it to the Brown Knives FSD Mini, which is just about the same size, maybe just a hair smaller. So those are some other sort of grailish knives, at least in my estimation. Let's do it a few comparisons to some more common knives. So my usual suspects would be the Spyderco PM2, which is a bit bigger overall, but with per usual slightly less cutting edge. And the other would be the Benchmade Bug Out, which is considerably smaller. So there you go on the size comparisons. I don't think we really need more than that, do we? It occurred to me that when I was talking about the action, that I didn't mention the use of the thumb studs to deploy the knife, or the studs. So they are usable. They work pretty well, actually. You know, you can use a thumb stud. You can do the reverse flick. Well, as you saw there. So definitely usable. I think the best method, sorry, it doesn't work that way, is to use the flipper tab. The studs would, I think, work a little bit better if they were just, you know, a millimeter longer. You can see that they don't give you a ton of access. You can come in below them. And as I said, it works. It's just not ideal, shall we say. But I'm still glad they're there, because I do tend to enjoy multiple deployment methods. And you know, once you're carrying it, you sort of get used to accessing them, as with most knives. So I think, I don't know, this video has cut out several times, and I confess that I am not 100% sure what I've covered at this point and what I haven't. But I will just give my overall assessment, which is that it's just a fantastic knife, and I recommend it highly if this is a category you're operating in. It's obviously not cheap, but I think it's, you know, compared to other knives in the category, it's very functional, and it's unique, and it has a lot of sort of technical innovation that you're just not going to find in many other places. You know, there's basically, you got the Panchenko Rook and maybe the Shortcut. I'm not sure if it has the same lock. The you know, the Hawk utility knife might have, but still, it's a very limited class of knives that have this functionality and the same lock and detent, which are tons of fun to play with, and it works great too. So I'm assuming that there are going to be future drops, even if the second drop is already concluded, which I think it probably has. And know that the Hawks are going to be at Blade Show Atlanta, and I'm sure they will have some of these with them. And I would imagine that after they return over the next year or two, there will probably be additional drops of the Hawk Knives Talon. So go get yourself one. It is awesome. And until the next time, Thank you for stopping by. I would really appreciate it if you would hit the like button below and go ahead and subscribe. It's free. And y'all have a good one. Take care.